Most people act based on their feelings at the moment. They wake up in the morning with hope, collapse at the first obstacle, and make their lives a torment depending on whether the day goes well or badly. They rejoice when things go their way, but when the wind changes direction, their world collapses. Their minds are like puppets pulled by invisible strings of anger, fear, jealousy, and desire. People like this poison their days at the slightest setback. But Stoics are different. Stoics are governed by principles, not moods. While ordinary people bend under pressure, Stoics stand firm with their rock-solid willpower. While the world burns in chaos, Stoics remain unshaken. Why? Because their compass is not emotions, but discipline, clarity, and virtue. Emotions change every hour, but principles and virtue never change. If you want power, you must stop being a slave to your emotions. Stop chasing pleasure like a hungry animal. Stop begging for comfort. Stop running from pain. Start where all real power begins, controlling yourself. A man who cannot control his own mind, no matter how rich he is, no matter how free he thinks he is already a lost man. And understand this, what you are about to hear is not superficial motivation. It is not cheap dopamine. It is not sugar-coated inspiration that will make you feel good for a few minutes. This is a field guide. It is a guide shaped by Stoic fire over centuries. It is a ruthless guide to turning your mind into something as solid as a wall. Every law is a weapon. Every practice is armor. Neglect one, and you leave cracks in your defense. Apply them all, and you become a fortress. It's about restructuring the way you think, the way you react, the way you live. It's about building a mental strength that can overcome storms, betrayal, failure, even death. Here's a challenge for you. Don't just listen, participate. Don't just accept, apply. Each rule supports the last, turning flesh into steel, weakness into discipline, chaos into calm. If you're truly committed, prove it now. Like the video, write "I choose strength" in the comments, and take the first step. This is for your own good, because strength is never inherited. Strength is built. And today, if you're ready, we're starting to build you. Rule 1, feelings are not commands, they are data feel. Name it, but never obey. Most people see their feelings as commands. I'm angry, so I must yell. I'm scared, so I must hide. I'm jealous, so I must attack. This is a huge lie. Emotions are not commanders, they are merely signs. A signal. They only show you the direction. Which path you take is up to you, and of course, what awaits you at the end of the road is entirely your creation. Anger, fear, jealousy, shame. These are uninvited guests who come knocking at your door. But remember, the house is yours. It is up to you whether to open the door to them or not. If you give them the key, you surrender your power. When you observe them and do not obey their commands, you regain your throne. Exercise. When triggered, don't react immediately. Stop. Say aloud, "This is anger. This is fear. This is jealousy." When you name it, you separate yourself from it. Then take a deep breath, slowly to the count of 10. In those 10 seconds, the storm's effect diminishes. Ask yourself one question. What would my highest self do right now? Not your impulsive, broken, wounded self. The higher self you respect, the one you aspire to be. Then act, slowly, consciously, not in panic, but carefully and patiently. This practice will transform you. The world will continue to provoke you, but you will no longer be a puppet pulled by invisible strings. People will yell, insult, betray, but your response will not belong to them. Your response will belong only to you. Only to you. You are not unemotional. That is a superficial misconception. You are unshakable. You do not bend. You feel everything, but you submit to nothing, only to principle and reason. That is true strength. That is freedom. That is the first rule of being unbreakable. Rule 2, control what you can control. Power resides within a narrow circle. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your attitude. Everything else, other people's opinions, outcomes, timing, weather, luck, is beyond your control. Trying to hold on to them is like trying to hold on to a rope made of sand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips. For the Stoic, freedom begins when they direct their energy solely toward what they can control. You can transform your thoughts, you can make your decisions, you can choose your behavior, you can determine your attitude. Everything else feeds your chains. Exercise. Divide a piece of paper in half. Write on the left side, I can control. Write on the right side, I cannot control. Place your daily troubles in these two columns. Then turn your eyes to the right side and let go. That is not your battlefield. Shift your attention to the left column, where your power resides, because things beyond your control are not your responsibility. This simple practice cuts the strings in your mind, because the world constantly pulls at you, tossing you here and there. But no one can pull you unless you let go of the end of the string yourself. No one can steer you where they want. Remember, power comes not from controlling the outside world, but from controlling the world within. You cannot control other people's thoughts, but you can control your own. You cannot calm the storm in the sky, but you can calm the storm in your mind. The chaos of the outside world will not diminish. People will continue to talk, results will continue to surprise you, fate will continue to test you. But when you let go of the reins, they will no longer be able to control you. The world does not hold your reins, only you can give them away. And when you don't give them away, true freedom begins. Rule 3, premeditatio malorum. Anticipate the blow. Don't hope for an easy day. Be prepared for a difficult one. The Stoic does not view life's blows as a surprise. On the contrary, he constantly anticipates them in his mind as if they could happen at any moment. Losses, failures, betrayals, misfortunes. He visualizes them all in his mind. But this is not pessimism, it is preparation. The mind's preparation for adverse situations. Because those who are surprised when the blow comes are broken. Those who expect the blow beforehand remain steadfast when it comes. You visualize the worst-case scenario in your mind, then calmly plan your best response. And when the day comes, you've already taken the step. Exercise. Close your eyes. Think of the worst-case scenario. Losing your job, seeing your loved one betray you, losing your health. Then ask yourself, what would I do if that happened? What would my first step be? Find your answer, then immediately clarify that first step in your mind. Prepare your plan. When you do this, fear diminishes, because fear grows in the shadow of the unknown. When you shine light on that shadow, the fear melts away. Your courage grows because you have already faced it. Remember, setbacks are inevitable. Fate seeks opportunities to test you, but those caught unprepared are shaken. The prepared one rises. The Stoic, when starting the day, expects not only the good but also the bad, because those who expect the bad are never defeated when it comes. Every blow comes not to break you, but to test your steel. And when you meet the blow head-on, you don't break. On the contrary, you become even stronger. Rule 4, voluntary suffering. Forges. Steel comfort corrupts. Difficulty strengthens. Human nature tends to gravitate toward the easy path. Staying in a warm bed, eating to excess, distracting yourself instead of facing silence. These things lull you into comfort, but also rust you. The Stoic knows that comfort is a subtle poison. An iron will, however, is forged in the crucible of hardship. Voluntary hardship consists of small battles you wage against yourself. No one forces you. You choose it with your own will. A cold shower, a day spent on an empty stomach, getting up before sunrise to train your body, a long, silent walk. Each one makes you a little more resilient. Exercise. Choose a small hardship every day. Today, fast for 24 hours instead of eating. Tomorrow, use ice-cold water instead of hot water in the shower. The next day, get up earlier than usual from your comfortable bed and exercise your body. These may seem simple, but each one breaks the chains of your mind. Because when great difficulties come, the unprepared break. But if you train every day with small difficulties, when the big ones come, you just smile and face them. For you, this is not an unexpected disaster, but an exercise you have already worked on. Those who surrender to comfort collapse in the face of hardship. But those who willingly embrace hardship become steeled against it. Because their will is constantly forged, constantly strengthened and developed, it becomes an unshakable wall. Remember, willpower is like a muscle. When you don't exercise it, it weakens. When you exercise it, it grows. And no storm, no pain, no misfortune can break a person with strong willpower. When you train yourself through hardship, you gain an unbreakable mind and an unshakable spirit. Choose voluntary hardship, because this choice protects you from decay and makes you as strong as steel. Rule 5, detach from outcomes, devote yourself to the process. Goals are important, but blindly clinging to them will lead you to unhappiness, because outcomes are not within your control. You enter a race, you do your best, but you may not win. This is not your fault because you have done everything in your power. You pour your heart into a project, but you may not get the response you want. If you tie your happiness to the outcome, failure will crush you, and it's not easy to recover. The Stoic knows the rules of the game. If you don't have control, don't become its prisoner. What you have in your hands is staying true to the process. Working, putting in effort, showing patience, learning, trying. That's where all your power lies. Think of an archer. He shoots an arrow at the target. As he draws his bow, he controls his breath, prepares his muscles, and focuses his attention. Once the arrow leaves his hand, fate is in the hands of the wind, the distance, the conditions. The archer's job is to release the arrow in the best way possible. The result is in the hands of nature, not his. You should be like this in life too. If you are preparing for an exam, focus all your attention on the process, your studying, your revision, your discipline. Don't think about whether you will pass or fail. If you are starting a business, focus on the process, research, development, experimentation. Don't worry about whether the customer will come back to you. Your job is to do the best you can. When you live like this, your mind becomes free, because what makes you happy is no longer external results, but the honor of your own effort. Taking a small step every day satisfies you, and whatever the outcome, you don't lose, because your success is not outside, it is within. Remember, the process is a temple. The outcome is only a shadow. Stay true to the process, because within the process lies growth, peace, and true victory. And when you reach your goal one day, you will realize that the real reward is the journey. Rule 6, radical responsibility. You must accept that life is unfair. Many things are beyond your control. People may wrong you, circumstances may not go your way, disasters may strike suddenly. Perhaps it is not your fault. But remember this, it is still your turn to make a move. You must act like a Stoic. This is radical responsibility. Not blaming, not making excuses, not complaining. Because complaining gains you nothing. On the contrary, it drains your strength. By blaming, you give control away. Taking responsibility, however, means taking back the reins. The Stoics say, you cannot control what fate deals you, but you choose how to play the cards you are dealt. This is the immutable law of life. You may find yourself in the middle of a storm. Perhaps you did not sink your ship, but you will determine how to set your sails and steer the helm. Radical responsibility means reminding yourself of these 3 steps. Accept. Don't deny the current state of your life. Don't run away. Don't ignore it. Accept reality as it is, no matter how painful. Adapt. Make a new plan. Change your strategy. Redraw your path. Because life will give you new tests every day. You can't go the same way, but you can still move forward at the end of the road. Take action. Thinking and planning aren't enough. Power is born the moment you take action. Take a step. Every action, no matter how small, moves you forward. Remember, power begins where excuses end. Every time you make an excuse, you chain yourself down. When you say, "The conditions were bad, he treated me unfairly, I had no luck," you are actually declaring yourself a victim. But when you say, "Yes, that happened. Still, what can I do about it?" you begin to break your chains. Carrying the burden of life can be difficult, but this burden is also the weight that makes you strong. The responsibility on your shoulders is not there to weigh you down, but to make you grow. Don't reject the weight. Lift it, because only muscles that carry weight grow stronger. Radical responsibility does not mean everything is under my control, but it means that the control of the step I take now, the reaction I give, the thought I choose, is mine. And that is where true freedom begins. When the excuses are over, you take the helm of your life. And at that moment, no matter what happens, you are never helpless. Because your power is not in external circumstances, it is hidden within you. Rule 7. Silence is more valuable than approval. Most people live trying to prove themselves to others. They seek approval, chase recognition, and wait for applause. But true power lies in learning to remain silent, because silence is a sign of control, self-confidence, and self-discipline. You don't need people to praise you for what you do. According to the Stoic perspective, what determines your value is not people's applause, but your own consistency. If you constantly seek value in the eyes of others, you have become their prisoner. If you rise when someone praises you and fall when they criticize you, you have given them control over you. True freedom, however, is standing on your own principles, not on the words of others. Silence is the most powerful form of strength, because when you are silent, the person opposite you is forced to listen to their own inner voice. Sometimes saying nothing carries a message heavier than 1,000 words. Don't waste your energy on pointless arguments, condescending words, or those who try to provoke you. When you stoop to their level, you lose your power. Remember this: respect grows in silence. Unnecessary explanations and constant self-defense make you appear weak in the eyes of others. The more you feel the need to prove yourself, the less value you are perceived to have. Yet, through your silence, your patience, and your focus on your work, those around you will sense your weight. Make this a principle in your daily life. When someone disrespects you, don't explode with anger. Either respond with a calm and clear statement or don't respond at all. Your silence will leave a void that the other person will feel compelled to fill by speaking. Don't shout about your achievements. Work, produce, and let the results speak for you. Instead of becoming the talk of the town, become someone who is indescribable, felt in the eyes of others. Don't chase approval, likes on social media, praise from those around you, or recognition from your family. Don't make any of these the steering wheel of your life. You should be the one steering, holding the wheel firmly in your hands. Remember, attention is a currency. Your attention, time, and energy are very valuable. When you spend them on cheap things, you become poor. The discipline that comes with silence helps you conserve this energy. Invest it in your work, your training, your learning, your self-improvement. Because when you spend it here, it comes back to you multiplied. Silence is also another way to train your mind. When you stop talking, you start listening. You begin to hear both others and your own inner voice. And this is where true wisdom arises, because those who talk a lot generally don't think and speak idly, but those who listen a lot understand the world better, and every word they utter contains a separate wisdom. One day, when someone insults you, tries to belittle you, or mocks you, think, will my response add value to them or to me? If your response does not elevate you, silence is always the stronger choice, because silence is not just refusing to speak, it is also maintaining your own level. Stop trying to prove yourself, because a person with real power has no need to prove themselves. They already carry their power within them, and that power resonates even in their silence. Learn to be silent, because silence is not just a void, it is a weapon. And when you use that weapon correctly, nothing can break you. Rule 8, Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. One day, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a few years, you will leave this world. Your breath will stop. Your heart will beat for the last time, and time will end for you. The Stoics never forgot this truth. For them, remembering death was not a darkness, but rather a source of light, because the person who remembers death begins to see the essence of life. In their eyes, the value of life increases. Think about it. How much of our daily lives is filled with trivial things? We get stuck in traffic, engage in meaningless arguments, blow minor mistakes out of proportion, and often spend our days and hours worrying about what others think of us. But if you asked yourself every day, if today were my last day, would this really be worth it? Then the little things would suddenly melt away. Because if these were your last moments, these issues would seem too insignificant at that moment. Death is the filter of life. For the Stoics, death was not a frightening end, but a compass that simplified everything. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death is beside you. While you are alive, while you have it in your hands, heal." This sentence is actually the summary of all life, because when you remember death, you stop procrastinating. Whatever you need to do, you take action immediately. If you love someone, you tell them. You start the job you want to start. You do the good deed you've been putting off. You put your pride aside and forgive, because you know you don't have infinite time. Remembering death is actually gaining courage. Most of our fears stem from forgetting death. People fear rejection because they think they will live in shame forever. They fear failure because they think everything will be over. But when you are aware of death, these fears become meaningless, because you know that one day everything will end anyway. So why not try? Why not take risks? Why not live authentically? Memento Mori does not frighten you. On the contrary, it liberates you, because when you accept the certainty of death, you see that you have nothing to lose. Practice the exercise of remembering death. The Stoics turn this into a discipline. You can do it too. At night, before going to bed, ask yourself, if today were my last day, what would I do differently? Apply that answer tomorrow. In the morning, look in the mirror and say, today could be my last day. When you say this, you will focus less on the unimportant things in your life and more on what truly matters. At decision points, when you have to make a big decision, ask yourself, if this is my last chance before I die, can I stand proudly behind the path I choose? These seemingly simple practices will make you both braver and clearer. Awareness of death brings peace. Death is not only loss, it is also a guide. Knowing you will die one day allows you to live today more fully. Most people struggle not to think about death, but the Stoics embrace it, because they know that if you forget death, you also forget how to truly live. Trivial arguments end, small ambitions fade, false pride melts away. Only the essence, only truth remains. Memento Mori makes you calmer, because if you know that time is limited, trivial things won't anger you. You won't dwell on an insult, because you'll say, maybe this was our last conversation. Then I will preserve my own peace. Conclusion: remember death, gain life. For the Stoic, death is not the end of life. It is the compass of life. It leads you not to darkness but to light. Because when you remember how little time you have left, you spend that time on truly valuable things, and that is true freedom. Remember, one day you will die, but every day you can truly live. Rule 9, live according to virtue. Courage, self-control, justice, wisdom. The only thing that will truly make you powerful in life is not the applause of others, your wealth, or your power. It is your virtues. For Stoics, virtue is the fundamental compass of life, because everything else can change. Wealth can disappear, friends can be lost, the body can weaken, But as long as you preserve your virtue, no power can destroy you. Virtue makes you an indestructible wall. Virtue in Stoicism rests on 4 pillars: courage, self-control, justice, and wisdom. These are the standards that will guide you in every decision. 1. Courage. Courage is not something shown only on the battlefield. You need courage in every area of life. It takes courage to speak the truth. It takes courage to face your fears. It takes courage to leave your comfort zone. Stoic courage is not being reckless, but acting despite fear. Because the Stoic knows, fear grows when you run from it, but shrinks when you confront it. 2. Self-control. Self-control is the ability to control your desires, passions, and impulses. Food, lust, anger, jealousy. All of these can enslave you, but a person with self-control is free, because they are a slave to their own mind, not to others. You can strengthen your self-control every day with small practices. Resist hunger a little. Stay silent in difficult moments. Postpone something you want. When these small victories come together, they transform you into an unshakable will. 3. Justice. Justice applies not only in courts but also in your daily life. Not wronging others, valuing people, defending what is right. This is also essential for Stoics, because without justice, power is just tyranny. Marcus Aurelius says, if something does not serve the good of humanity, do not do it. This is the essence of justice, because it means thinking not only of yourself but also of society. 4. Wisdom. Wisdom begins with knowing what is within your control. It is understanding what to fight for and what to accept. Wisdom is acting with reason. It is not being a slave to your emotions. The wise person uses their knowledge not for show, but to guide their life. They listen, learn, question, and then decide. Life asks us the same question every day. Who will you be today? Will you be a slave to your own desires, fears, and the expectations of others? Or will you be a person who has taken control of their mind and steers their own course with their willpower? Remember, a strong mind affects not only you, but everyone around you. When you are determined, when you stand tall, when you remain true to your values, it creates a chain reaction. You become an example, a beacon, a source of inspiration, but this path is not easy. There are laws we need to discover, truths we need to delve deeper into. In the next part of this series, we will discuss a step that will sharpen your mind even more, enabling you to stand firm against life's storms. I can't say it now, but trust me, you won't want to miss it. If you truly want to build a strong mind, don't just listen. Be part of this community. Write "I'm ready" below and take the first step today to overcome whatever is holding you back. Because when you change your mind, you change your life. Don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't just a video series, it's the beginning of your new life.